Hi, welcome, welcome to Wednesday, September 9th lesson. Before we go into today's lesson, I just wanted to touch on some things that you should have read and noted yesterday in your notes. One of the things that we discussed was about frame stories, and with a frame story, you have a story that has an outer story and an interior story. So, in The Seventh Man, as you can tell, in the very beginning, we have the outer story. We have the seventh man who's at a meeting, or not at a meeting, I'm sorry, he's with the group huddled. We know that the weather is bad because the author lets us know that the windows are rattling. We know it must be pretty severe since the people are kind of huddled together in a circle. And we know he's the last one to talk. And he's about to share his story. So, what do you notice about what point of view the story is told in here at the beginning? What you should notice is that the story is told in a third person limited point of view. In a third person omniscient point of view, the narrator is able to follow any of the characters in the story, jump into their head, tell us what's going on, see what everything is going on, and then they can jump to a totally different character who could be in the other side of the world and let us know what's going on there. With limited, the narrator can only go through that one character that they're following, and they can only see and express and show us what is happening in the story through that one character. So this is a limited point of view. You'll see then when the outer frame stops and the interior story starts, we see a shift in the point of view. As you can see, we shift to a first person point of view. Some things in your notes you were asked to, you learned about was about characterization, about indirect and direct characterization. So with direct characterization, we are directly told by the author information about the characters. These are what are called telling sentences. So if you look here in paragraph 6, you can see how we're told directly that the seventh man was in his mid-50s. He was a thin man, tall, mustache. We're not having to make those inferences. We're shown those directly. Now, a little further on in the story, when the seventh man starts talking about Kay, then, oops, I've gone too far. He's talked about his artwork. Okay, right here. He won a prize in the contest one and after another, and I'm sure he would have become a famous painter. And he had continued with his art into childhood. I would often be beside him watching swift, precise movements of the brush, and so on and so on. So what we should notice here is that he is showing us how Kay is actually very talented, very creative. He's not telling this, he's showing it to us. So that would be indirect characterization. So that was just some things to take notice of. Let's go to our slides for today. And here we are at our Google site. And with our warm-up, we want to start with reading these sentences, going into your Google form, clicking on that. Read these sentences and decide what's being used. Is it direct or indirect characterization? So take a moment to pause the video and answer your questions on your Google form for your warm-up. Okay, so you should have completed your warm-up. So let's take a moment and look at that. She was a cheery, upbeat person. So is that direct or indirect? So we're directly being told what this person is like. So that is direct. Her lighthouse smile beckoned across the crowd. So direct or indirect. So this is an indirect because it's telling us, it's showing us what kind of person she is. That her lighthouse smile, that was bright smile, that's beckoning somebody across the room, tells us she's kind of attractive and alluring, and that's being and telling us directly. Oops, I actually hit the number 3. Mike's ex-girlfriend believed wealth would never come knocking on his door. So basically, we're being indirectly told that Mike's not that very wealthy, that he's pretty poor. Mike was a poor chap who lived in a small house, and that's a direct sentence. So those are telling, obviously, that is a telling sentence. It's telling us, whereas 3 is showing us. Number 5, the office staff invited their old boss to the party because he makes everyone laugh. Okay, so that is indirect. And then our last, And in our last one, James is at every company party because he's a fun guy who knows how to make a crowd have a good time. So we're directly told what he's like. With this one, we understand what the boss is like based on the experience of his office staff. Okay, so continuing with our annotations, so your key, make sure you follow. Okay, as you continue the story today, we're going to find out a little bit more about what happened to the seventh man and Kay. When we left them today, or whatever day you're on, when we left them on Tuesday, Kay and the seventh man as a little boy are out and in the eye of the storm right now, or everything has calmed, and they're kind of exploring the water, which has been not the water, the ground and the land where there's a lot of debris left over, and we're about to see what's going to happen in the story. You should know, you should have already read. So something to notice and note. Again, you will highlight this information and make notes in the annotation box on the Savas. Pay attention to paragraph 27. I want you to identify the punctuation the author uses to divide the sentences 3, 4, 5, and 6 into parts. So take notice of that. Why do you think the author uses dashes? What patterns does this punctuation create? And what is the effect of dividing these sentences in this way? So you will answer those questions when you highlight into your annotation box, and you can answer the questions there. Also, another notice and note as you read, look for descriptions of the narrator's thoughts and actions. So in paragraph 30, where we're going to look specifically at highlighting the narrator's thoughts blue, and highlight pink the action the narrator actually took, and see the contrasts or similarities in between there. What do you notice about the thoughts and the actions? And then again, in your annotation box, you would answer that question. What do these details reveal about the narrator's character? This is a video to help you understand the effects of the typhoon waves. As you read, you'll hear the seventh man discuss what it's like when that wave came back in. So take a moment to pause the video and watch the other video of some actual typhoon waves. And then think about how does seeing and hearing these waves help you better understand the terror the narrator faced. All right, so some cross-curricular perspectives to be considering about. You may have heard about PTSD. If we look at paragraphs 41 through 45, the narrator describes his response to the tragedy, his behavior. It seems very consistent with somebody who's suffering from PTSD. PTSD, it is a mental condition, and it occurs after a personal experience or witnessing some kind of trauma. We've heard about soldiers experiencing these coming back from war. Something could have been some kind of tragic death, an accident, some kind of destruction. Some people from these storms suffer PTSD. Some possible symptoms: avoidance, anxiety, depression, recurring nightmares, flashback. So see if you think if our narrator, the seventh man, is actually exhibiting any of these symptoms. And then there's some possible treatments down there. Okay, so I'm going to let you pause the video and finish going through the slides, and because I don't want to spoil anything. And then tomorrow, when I come back, we can discuss what we've read so far. So pause the video and go ahead and read and take care of and doing your annotations. See you tomorrow.